How's it going, everyone? It is Thursday, March 21st, 2024, and this is the video for today. So let's start with the pick from the prior video, which was NRG. And NRG we brought out as a day trade yesterday, and I never got the chance to enter this day trade. So this was a no trade. So why is it a no trade? Well, NRG had a nice, strong trend while the market was doing nothing, but I mentioned two things. One, it's FOMC statement, so we got to be careful. And two, we want to buy this strength after the pullback. So we got a bit of a deeper pullback here, but I'm like, okay, well, that's not the end of the world. We're still keeping this trend intact. So I need to get another green candle, much like over here, another bullish engulf, and then that's a great entry point for me. But we got a little bit of follow through. Compression, tested VWAP. Okay, not the worst entry point, but sellers taking this chance to smack it down, smack it down, smack it down, and I never got the entry point that I wanted. So NRG was a no trade. This was the key candle over here. We didn't get the immediate buyback. So tells us that the trend is over. All right, so what happened yesterday? Well, we had our FOMC statement. Rate cuts remain unchanged. Powell still is keeping the story of three rate cuts this year, 75 basis points. But he didn't give any specific indication of when those would be. The market is pricing June as the first month of rate cuts. So that remains to be seen. They said, it's kind of a copy paste of like all these other FOMC statements where they're going to take it meeting by meeting. And, they're committed to a 2% inflation target, blah, 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 blah. The two dovish comments that stood out to me that Powell said was, one, obviously we expect to have 3 rate cuts this year. The second is that he wasn't too concerned about the inflation data that was high that came out this month for February. So that's a good sign. And his view is that the story is saying this inflation data is coming down, but it's a bumpy road down. We're going to have some spikes up and some spikes down. So that's the dovish news. If Powell was like, hey, inflation spike, now we're not so sure if we're going to do the rate cuts, I think we would have seen a bearish action in the market. So let's go over some of our, I guess let's look at the market in a longer term time frame first before I get into the picks in our portfolio. I realized I did not do any portfolio updates in the last video, so we're going to look at that because we had some open swings over here and we made some changes today in our portfolio. So first thing is on a D1 basis, this was the finishing candle on SPY yesterday. This is a nice technical breakout. Good volume. Out of this compression, clean break closing on the high of the day, and we had a catalyst for that information. You can see the market was compressing in this range. We had talked about it earlier, and it seemed to me that like we're getting one move is kind of weakening after this long leg up, and probably some position squaring and some waiting period for this FOMC meeting. We also had some inflation data that came in over here, so that seemed to be the story at this looking back. But we broke through here. We're maintaining this channel, and today we had a nice gap up. So now the market a little bit overextended on this gap up. You can see here how it's testing this high plus trend line, which isn't any major resistance, but it helps gauge the channel on how the market is doing. Let me delete these because those were intraday. So it helps us gauge how the market is doing, and also how it helps us gauge basically if the buying pressure accelerates very, very quickly. So mentioned a couple of times the market was moving up. We're watching for one, the strength of the move and the strength of the dips, and then two, the strength of the buying if we accelerate very, very fast. If we get a buying climax where we stack, 2 or 3 long green candles all the way through here, the move gets too ahead of itself, and the downside, from what I hear, could be pretty nasty. I've not seen it myself, but I'm taking Pete's word for it, as I always keep that in the back of my mind. Okay, so our D1 bias continues bullish. The main change was that our short-term bias, which was neutral over here, was bullish yesterday because we had that breakout. So our long-term D1 bias, I would say, is still a 2 bullish, but our short-term bias was a 3 bullish yesterday. So we felt confident in taking some swings overnight. So I took 2 swings overnight, closed one, and I'm holding the other. So this is all sort of lining up. Now, let's look at what's happening today. So we know that the context is pretty bullish. We're a little bit overextended. We're watching out for any signs of a buying climax. We're watching for, we're saying, hey, there's a very low threat that the market bottom completely drops out. There is some risk of a pullback since we're high over here, but, we're going to trade what we see. And we're bringing up the SPY M5 chart here, but we're going to take a look at the market today and, what were the tells today, because we did do some day trades. So we'll take a look at the market today, why it was looking good. And we're going to go over the current portfolio, what positions were open and closed, and what pick I will give for the video or for today that we can take a look at tomorrow. All right. So here is our beautiful market. So, excuse me. First thing you see here, big gap up, and let's go by this day by day. So big gap up. We're not trading the first 30 minutes. We're seeing if this gap up holds. All right. So we get a probe, and we get some nice steady buying. Okay, this is what we like to see. Now, this is not a bad entry point because we've held the gap, but we have a little bit of a bearish cross coming in. So what I did is I took some starter positions and I said, hey, if this bearish cross ends up, completely screwing me over, I'll take the loss in the starter positions. But there's a good chance, because we probed the gap early, we held it, and the price action was tight. That means that we can expect this support to hold for the time being. And if we weather this bearish cycle, we can add to our starter positions. So you can see here, we're weathering the bear cycle, coming up a little bit higher. So actually, I added to some positions here. Market came down, and it formed a higher low, double bottom. And then when we started to inch up higher, you can see that 1OP is crossing, LRSI is crossing, and we had another add point for some starter positions, as well as a entry point for some swing positions, for some later day trades. So market's going up higher. So what we're expecting at this point is that, all right, sellers haven't been able to knock this down. There should have been profit taking, but buyers are very, very supportive at the gap, and they like what they are seeing. If we work at the supply, we could get a nice drift higher for a pretty decent bullish trend day. So we're testing this gap here, and first warning sign is a little bit of a red key bar off the high of the day. Okay, not the best thing, but also not the worst thing. We don't overreact to a single candle. Now we test VWAP again. We get another red bar, green bar, try to get up higher, and then we get smacked down again. It's some decent volume, but we form a little bit of a tail. So market is now drifting a little bit lower. So we're not going to be totally panicking out of our long day trades, but we are not going to be entering any day trades at this moment. We have LRSI crossing down. We're seeing a little bit more red candles over here. We're attacking VWAP, so we got to see what the market is doing here. So the market is having a weak drift lower. Action is still staying nice and tight. And then over here, you can see that we breach the low of the day. Okay, so we're not panicking right away on this low of the day breach. but we have a bearish cross coming. So we need to hold the low of the day in order for us to get confident to take any late day long. So we try to get over here, and I thought this was a pretty key bar that we got smacked down in this bear cycle. We did make a new low of the day, but now we have a bullish 10P cross. We have some tails below body forming. If we can get through this downward sloping trend line, we could be in business for something. So I'd some longs that didn't perform and had some other longs that held up. So market tries to get a rally going, but is met with some resistance. And you can see that after this low of the day break over here, market is pretty much going sideways, mixed candles at this time. So to me, not the most bullish or the most bearish. It just seems like there could be a market resting point over here. So that was our analysis of the day when we saw that there was some nice market components that were in our favor. So we had some good rally breadth. Tech was strong. Mega tech was pretty strong. VIX was pretty low. Flight to safety assets were pretty low, and a lot of stocks breaking out on heavy buy, way more than heavy sell. So I think that was a pretty big tell. There's a lot of nice breakouts today. So let's go to our YouTube picks. The first one that I took profits in this morning was Netflix. So we had the stock for quite a while. You can see here how we got it here, broke down and was slowly grinding up to this trend line. And I took profits today at 6:30 on the open. We didn't get a big gap up on SPY. We didn't know if the gap would hold on a gap reversal. So got out of Netflix for a nice win. So taking that off the books. The other position change we made today was LIN. So LIN we took here. The market has staged a pretty decent rally, and LIN has not been performing. So I took the loss on LIN today. So that is an L on our books. So we're going to mark that quickly. Now we're still in our MS PCS, which had an excellent breakout yesterday and today. So tomorrow you should be able to close this spread for a full profit. So that is a very nice win on MS. So we're going to mark that as a win tomorrow. But other than that, not worrying too much. So still going to keep it on for right now. All right. So let's get into the pick of the day, which is Lyft. I love this breakout on Lyft. So post earnings breakout, a bit of a flagpole. We digest the gains, break through a VWAP, digest the gains here, and now we are moving up higher. So I like Lyft for a nice short-term swing. Makes these big moves, and then it compresses, and then makes the next big moves as a bit of a stair-step pattern. I like what I'm seeing in Lyft, and I think it has a very good chance for continuation. So we are going to add that to our picks for today. And that is most of the picks for the month. We got a couple of no trades this month. We got a few L's, a few more L's than before, but that happens. And we also got a few W's as well. So, we'll take a full look at March at the end of this month. We'll take a look at all the trades. But there was plenty of nice trades to be had on the day trading side today as well. So we'll take a look at Lyft tomorrow. Hope you guys found that very, very helpful and useful. And we will take a look again tomorrow.